Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and this one here is just kind of a standalone video. I didn't really want to put this in any series. I just had an idea the other day thinking through things we can do with the Helix. And the beautiful thing about the Helix is a lot of times there's some very simple ways to accomplish things that in the past we couldn't do quite as easily. One cool effect that some guitar players have used to great effect in the past is something called a kill switch, which oftentimes is built right into the guitar. Think maybe guitar players like Tom Morello, Buckethead, John 5, just to name a few, have really come to be known as players who've utilized a kill switch for some really cool effects in their songs. And what is a kill switch? Well, it's simply just a switch on the guitar that we press, kind of a momentary switch that cuts off all signal coming out of the guitar. So that you kind of get a stuttering almost effect, right? With whatever you're playing, and when you're hitting this, it just cuts the signal, and then when you release it, lets it go through again. So you can kind of get this choppy, kind of stuttering effect going, which has a pretty cool thing. Now, obviously not everybody's guitar has this. Some people have it on their guitar. But for what about us that don't have it, that kind of maybe would like to integrate some of those effects into our playing, and we don't want to butcher up our guitar or rewire a whole new switch into it. Some companies have made kill switch pedals in the past. Don't quote me on the names of the companies who did them, and there may be something like that out there, but this is a really simple thing to do on our Helix, and I just want to do a really quick video showing you how you can really quickly set this up on any presets you have. So let's go over to HX Edit. I'm going to go to a preset I just released yesterday on Custom Tone from a dialing in video for the Line 6 electric amp model. It doesn't really matter which model you're using here. What I did is right at the end here, I'm going to insert a simple gain block. I believe this preset is in stereo, so I'll just make it a stereo gain block. And there we go, gain block. Now I'm going to set that gain block to be turned off, and I'm going to disengage it. Okay, so right now if I play this, okay, we get my preset that I had yesterday. Well, what we're going to do in HX Edit now is we're going to go with the gain block selected to the bypass controller, assign function, or tab I should say, and we are going to assign this to a foot switch on our Helix. Now I'm going to just pick foot switch 8. And we're then going to go into the type, and instead of having it at latching, I'm going to change that to momentary. Now the difference between latching and momentary is when it's set to latching and we press a switch, it's going to, when we release that switch, it's going to stay in the same state it was after we pressed it, right? So if we're turning it from off to on, it turns on, then when we release our foot, it's going to stay on. We press it again, it's going to go off. So it's going to alternate between whatever we press. Now, momentary means that it's only going to have, in this case, the gain block turned on while we're holding the pedal down. As soon as we release the pedal, it's going to turn itself back off. Now, that's all we need to do. So since we have it set to 0 or minus 120 dB gain, meaning turning the volume right off, when we press that, it's going to kill our sound instantly. Okay, simple enough. So if I press that switch now, as long as I have it held down, there will be no sound coming up. I have my Helix floor right in front of me on the floor, and I am going to just hit a chord and see what happens if I press that new assigned gain switch with the momentary switch on it. So I haven't tested this too much, but it does seem to work out quite nicely. And the only thing is you've got to realize that on your release is when it's going to let the sound back in, right? It's kind of like a kill switch on a guitar. When you press it, it's going to cut it out. So, you know, you might have to practice a little bit at getting the effect that you want, but it actually is a cool little way that you can throw this effect into any preset, basically. Now, the other thing is, though, we have to then ask, where do we want to put it in the signal chain? Because obviously, if we want to mimic what a guitar is going to do, the guitar is the first thing in the signal chain, right? So I could take this block and move it. Now I'm going to have to do my reassignments here. I'll get rid of this one. Again, I will just bring this over and put it on foot switch number 8 and set it to momentary. Now, the thing about this having it first in the chain is, let's say I have a delay or reverb on. When I hit the kill switch, if you notice, the delay and the reverb still spill over. Maybe that's something you want, but that's as simple as just putting it in a different place inside the signal chain. The other thing we could do too is just have kind of a master mute switch on our Helix if we change this to latching, right? Say between songs, we just want the sound to cut. Done, right? And then we hit it again, it's back on. So we could use it in that manner as well if that's something we needed. In between songs, we want it to just shut off, kind of like a manual gate in a sense, right? So anyways, I hope that maybe sparked some ideas that you can use in some of your signal chains. I don't know, maybe it's not something that's useful. Obviously, it's going to be a little different using our foot to control it, and it'll take a little bit of getting used to what we're capable of doing in that department rather than a kill switch on the guitar. But I thought it would be kind of a fun video and something to kind of get people thinking that there are some other cool little things we can do with inside the Helix that might be fun little additions to our presets. So, all right, thanks again for tuning in. Share the video if you don't mind. Like the video if you don't mind, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I got a lot more content coming up real soon. And again, as always, thank you so much for tuning in, and ciao for now.